Today is going to be a basic clean out of a 20-gallon tank. If you can refer back to the very first video that I posted going into PetSmart, you're going to need this vacuum pump. And this vacuum pump, you just put in the water, you squeeze this, and it's going to get the water out as soon as possible for you. And you're going to need buckets. You're going to want that water to drain out into the buckets, and you dump. And once you're done, we'll go from there. But right now, we're just going to drain out the water. So we drained the water out. Got a little water left in here. You just put that back down, let all the water drain back out into the bucket. You can fold this thing up, put it to the side. All right. So now a lot of times people have to deal with algae. You keep your tanks by windows where they get a lot of sunlight. You're gonna have to wipe your tank out. So what you want to get is a regular sponge. Never use soap. Ever. Never use soap. But get you a regular sponge. You're gonna wet it up, and you're just gonna wipe the insides down of the interior of the tank. You're just gonna wipe them down really good, and until you feel you have all the algae residue. So we're now done with wiping the tank out. Now you drain the gravel with all the debris and then any waste into the buckets. You deposit and put your buckets out. Now we've wiped the sides down, the corners and the sides down very good with the sponge to get all that excess algae that could have been on those corners of the glass. And now we're going to fill the tank back up. So you're going to need those buckets again, and it's going to probably take you a few trips, but we're gonna fill it back up and get this thing rolling. All right, we filled the tank back up. I'm gonna leave a little room for space just because when you put your filter and your pump in, you wanna have some space to where that water can flow and circulate as it comes down out of there. Now in terms of your ornaments, you can clean them the best way that you want. A lot of times you can go outside with a water hose and kind of pressure wash them hard, or a lot of times you can soak them, but never ever use soap when you try to clean your ornaments. Don't use soap. It'll harm the fish when you put them in the water after that soap residue still resonates on these. So don't use soap. But you can clean them any kind of way that you want. Kind of soak them in some warm water and regular water, rinse them off. But just make sure that you clean them the best way that you can. You slowly pull them back down into the tank. Fix your rocks back how they were. Now, you can fix your tank up however you want. For me, I like a natural look. And you can use this video as the same as setting up your aquarium. When you have these rocks, these type of rocks here, you have to make sure before you put them in, if it's a brand new tank, that you let those rocks soak in some water for about 30 minutes just to get all that debris and dirt up out of them, and just let them soak. And gently put them in because this is glass. You don't want to crack the glass due to the rocks. And I would recommend for a tank like this is a 20-gallon tank, a 25-pound bag of rocks or gravel. You can see in the previous video that top fin works perfectly. You're not gonna really use the whole bag. For a tank like this, you're probably gonna use majority, maybe most of it, but you're not gonna really use the entire bag. And But these tanks are great to get started. And as you clean it, or as you start it, you can use this video for either one. A tutorial just how to clean it or how to start. But for me, I want to have this natural look. As you see, I have this log structure here. I have this other log structure here. Kind of give the fish some hiding places. And as well as your plant life. You can kind of put your plant life wherever you want in the tank. Be sure to bury it down in there. Let's see. Put that there. Bury it down. Kind of create a natural habitat for any fish species I decide to put in. And this is the basic. As you can see, we have it set up. And what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you the filter. For this tank, it is a great choice 20-gallon tank. So the filter is going to look like this. And when you get these filters or the pumps, the top comes off, and within this is a little section where you take this off, and there's going to be this thing here. In this thing, you're going to have where your filters go. Now these filters can get very nasty, so you want to make sure that you change them out as often as you possibly can. And when you go to PetSmart, you're going to come in a box like this. This is for this specific tank, the Great Choice 20-gallon. This is the internal filter cartridge. This is what they look like. I like the Great Choice in terms of the 20-gallon, but all of my products are pretty much top fin products. But this is what you're going to use in terms of it. As you see, it folds. And here we go. We're going to open up the package. We're going to get one out. And this is what it looks like. Just like this. You're going to fold it like this. Triangle wise. If you get this tight, it just all depends on what kind of tank that you're working with. Let's get that thing down in there. There we go. And it goes in just like that. As you see, you just push it down back in there. This is going to be your valve in terms of your water flow. This is going to control the water flow into your tank. If you want a hard water flow, if you want a low water flow, depends on you, on how you want your tank to flow and set up, okay? All right. So I'm going to put this back down in here like so. Boom. Just like that. Put the top back on. Now mind you, with this, when you do this, it clamps back on. So you're going to have to push that down so it can clamp back on there, as you can see. And the clamps are going to be right here on the back. Boom. Just like that. Top back on. Boom. Now the beautiful thing about this, they have suctions on the back, so it'll stick to the back of the glass on the tank wherever you want to place this. For me, I'm gonna place it right here in the corner. Let's put it there. Leave some room to have a little height where the water falls out and can put some oxygen. Apply a little pressure in the back end. Boom, there you go. It is there. All right. The next step is going to be what I talk about, that water conditioner. As you guys can see, you're going to want this water conditioner. It's a top fin product. This is what you want to use after you fill this tank up with all of this chlorine water. You're going to want to have to treat this water and fight that chlorine. Chlorine is not good for freshwater fish at all. And so that's the purpose of this water conditioner. It makes tap water safe. For this one, you're going to use 5 milliliters per 10 gallons. So for this, you're going to probably use 10 milliliters. That's going to be 10 milliliters to get this 20-gallon tank prepared. So there we go. And it has a measurement. The beautiful thing about it, the measurement is right here at the top, so you'll be able to know. So we're going to use 2 of these. And you do the 5, or you can do the 10. And we pour a little bit more. That's the 5 again. Boom. All right, so now we have treated the water. And what you're gonna do now, once you treat the water, you're just gonna go back and take this suction that you used. Guess what? Just stir it around. Stir that treatment around in the tank. And this is the finished product. Once you're completed with everything, your tank is now good to go. Whether you did a clean or whether you set it up for the first time, your tank is now prepared and ready to go to add your fish. Be sure you guys like and subscribe to this page, and be on the lookout for the next video.